Hey, before we get into the episode, I just want to tell you about my free astrology newsletter called the Starzologer. It comes out every Sunday. It's of a lot of interest for astrologers. I explore cosmic currents moving through the ever-changing skies. Most weeks I explore what's coming up in the week and also share some astrology sticky bits and throw in some ideas about buzzing around. You also get stretched with my Extend Yourself sections. So this newsletter is for aspiring astrologers or anyone who's trying to up their astrological knowledge. It's totally free and you can sign up at starzology.com/newsletter. Now let's get into the show. Welcome to the Starzology Astrology Podcast. I am your host, Alison Price, and I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Arwynne O'Neill.
Hi, Alison. It's great to be here again.
Thank you so much for joining us once more. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about Saturn in the houses. Yeah, so we actually have done quite a few of the planets in the houses because it's really a popular topic.
Yeah.
But this time we're addressing Saturn.
Yes.
So first of all, I think we need to just chat a little bit about what Saturn represents in general, some kind of key themes.
Yeah.
Before we get onto the houses.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Saturn is it the greater malefic?
It is.
Yeah.
The greatest malefic.
It's not the biggest planet in the solar system, but it's the second biggest.
Yeah.
It's gigantic.
But it's the greater malefic. Malefic.
Absolutely gorgeous. Oh my God.
Oh, yes.
If you've seen the NASA
We've all
photos,
seen the photos.
My
right?
God.
Yeah.
Wow. It's like
so
much more beautiful
the lesser
than
malefic?
Saturn has any right to be.
Yeah.
The lesser malefic is Mars.
There you go.
Yeah.
So and we love these terms, let's face it.
It's so OG. Yeah.
Yeah. So with Saturn being the greater malefic, that already tells us it's a bit of a tough cookie.
Bit of doom and gloom. Yeah. And it's the Roman name for the god of time, which was Kronos in Greek mythology.
Is that with a K or a C, or does it not?
CH. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not like
chronometer.
Chronometer, exactly.
Ha!
Yeah, the timekeeper. And it also with a scythe in the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big dark robes and whatnot.
Yeah. So Saturn is a planet that some keywords is like limitations. We know that, right? Restrictions.
Government.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah.
Read between the lines.
The stern dad who says, just put on a sweater. Don't turn the heat up. Yeah, that guy.
Yes. I do it because I said so.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's a planet where you only get what you are due.
Yeah.
And if you don't do your, as they call it here in North America, due diligence, you're not going to get a thing out of Saturn.
Yeah. And when we talked about Saturn through the signs, I believe
we did.
Maybe we have, maybe we haven't, but one of the things that Saturn in the signs represents, and we can talk more about this in each house, but it's what you fear.
Yes.
Your deepest fear.
Your fears, yes.
Yeah. It tends to be represented by the sign that Saturn holds.
Yeah.
And of course, those fears have to express themselves in some area of your life, and area of life is the houses.
Yes.
And we've discussed this in our other house discussion recently. So if you want a little overview of what the houses mean, we went into a huge deep dive in our Sun Through the Houses episode, which you can refer back to. Yeah. But just super briefly, the sun in that, the houses basically are the area of life in which the action takes place.
Yes.
So if you have a planet, like all of your planets are going to be in a sign, and they're all going to be in a house.
Yes.
And so the planet is basically an energy that then takes on the persona of a sign that then enacts how it behaves in your life in a certain realm, and that realm is represented by that house.
Yes.
So it's like a set in a play or a TV show.
Yeah. It's very interesting how the houses work because, and of course, if you, like we said before, if you've got multiple planets in a house, that's where the action is in your life.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Exactly. It's not like those empty houses then are nothing. I mean, obviously, I don't have anything in the first house, but yet I have a body and a personality.
You do.
I do.
You do.
But there are other houses in my chart that have a lot of planets, and the action is
that's where the action is in your life,
yeah.
right? Exactly. Yeah. So, okay, so let's have a look then at Saturn through, we're going to go through each of the 12 houses, and we'll start at the first house.
Yeah.
So, Saturn in the first house.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to say I don't want to say anything is a rough one, but like, it's one of those where, you know, your astrologer may like silently grimace or whatever when they first glance.
I wonder if anyone with Saturn in the first house is even listening, because it's a stereo.
Is it a skeptical place?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's the I don't want to say the well-dressed person, but because the first house is your appearance, this is the guy in the suit,
the gray suit,
Men in Black.
Yeah, admin, gray suit, black suit.
Yes,
yeah.
Wearing the uniform.
Yeah, the uniform
of Saturn, and
I'm gonna read a few keywords, phrases, maybe sentences from Howard Sasportas' wonderful The 12 Houses, his seminal work on houses. And what he says about about Saturn in the first house is that they usually have a great sense of responsibility and a willingness to work hard in life.
Yes.
And this may stem from a need to prove their worth to the world, a desire to receive some sort of collective validation of that they're okay in the world. Often they experience life as difficult or restricting, especially in early childhood, and they may have felt as though their expression or their creativity were squashed if they stepped out of line. So later on, they can make up for that spontaneity, but they may have felt very much encumbered as
eat your greens.
As they were in their formative years, let's say.
It is. I think this is very much a person who is in control, who is maybe what we would say buttoned up. Mm-hmm. But there's so much more to the person. But when you look at the pure Saturn in the first house, this is what you're going to see.
Yeah. And it may not have even been something to do with their personality. It may have had something to do with their upbringing and their circumstances in life. They may have come into the world under very difficult, restrictive, limiting circumstances.
Right.
So this could be, oh my gosh, I just the thought of that movie with Jennifer Lawrence where she's like grows up in the Ozarks and it's just this crushing poverty and everybody's addicted to drugs, and she's just, her dad is like a super dark fairy tale. I can't remember the name of it at the moment. I could look it up, but I'm not going to go into that. Yes. But it's basically like, and then you rise above that, though. You come from, these harsh and limiting circumstances.
Yes, yes.
You rise above them. Yeah.
But this is too someone who's got, if we talk about the body, it's a hard toned, firm,
ascetic.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's composed. Composure is there. There's none of this loosey-goosey going on.
Yeah.
Like some of your goddess drawings. You know what I mean? They are composed.
Yeah.
Great.
Sensible, realistic. All right. Saturn in the second house.
Yeah.
It's funny. We're laughing. We laugh. We have fun with Saturn. But yeah, some of these keywords are, they may sound a little harsh, but we all have Saturn somewhere.
You do. We all do. It will come out. Yeah.
Yeah. So Saturn in the second house is about limitation and inadequacy in the fear of possessions, money, or values. And feeling that your security and your sense of worth may be wrapped up in your financial circumstances. And who doesn't feel that way to some degree?
Well, this is it, right? Can you pay the rent? There's the question, you know?
Yeah. It might become a thing of hoarding, though. A thing of being very sort of miserly and feeling like you can't spend money on things, or feeling like there's just never enough, and that somehow shapes your life.
Even though there is enough.
Yes, and in fact, Prince Charles has this placement. So clearly there's plenty,
Yes.
But there's this sense that, and what we know of his personal life is that it's not about necessarily the material wealth, but it's perhaps about what he values in life. And there's that sense of scarcity where he's perhaps hasn't always been able to have a fulfilling
Yes.
sense that he's putting his efforts towards something that's worthwhile.
Yeah.
Because
Or
what
being
does it
appreciated.
even mean? Or exactly. Right.
Yeah. And but I think also for you, well, you've mentioned him, but with your average guy, that they're going to be penny frugal. Let's say call it frugal. There used to be a saying, a penny pinching, and so much that you give the Queen a nosebleed because the Queen was on all the coins. They were pressing it so tight,
Yeah.
So I think this is someone who perhaps has resources
Yeah.
and money in the bank, but still is living frugally.
Yeah.
And why not,
Yeah. Probably not gonna, that there's no downside to being, a bit frugal.
Says you and I,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Saturn in the third.
Saturn in the third. Older brothers, I would have thought, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Leaning.
Yeah, right. Oh.
Your older brother's going to look after you. Oh, is he? Yes.
Yeah, he can look after me and hold my head in the toilet.
Yes.
Yeah. So the early environment may have felt dangerous to their safety. They may not have felt like they were able to express themselves openly. They may have walked around feeling like nobody understood them. They may have felt held back or misinterpreted or shy or aloof or even had some sort of a learning disability or a speech impediment or something that made it difficult for them to communicate and express themselves at school, especially, but even in their early childhood among peers and family.
Yeah. We all have a Saturn, and it does. It honestly, it limits us all wherever it is.
Yeah.
Right?
So siblings may have also been a source of difficulty, restriction, encumbrance somehow,
or in some way you are responsible for them as well.
Oh yeah, you could be the older sibling.
Imagine, look after your brother, and that carries on into old age, and still you're bailing out your brother or whatever.
Right, and of course these can be ameliorated by aspects.
Yes, you may have. Let's say that.
You may have Saturn trine Jupiter. Yeah, Jupiter could be like in the. Where would it be? 11th house or something?
Yeah.
Like you could have like a million
all sorts
friends.
of fun things going on.
Yeah, like it'd be fine, But then it's like, there's that one brother who's always asking for money, and you're like, oh God. Yeah.
And it never goes away.
Right.
Okay.
Saturn in the fourth.
Okay.
So the base of operations in your life, your home, your also
family.
Childhood, but your family, especially your father. And
yes, Saturn is a representation of your father.
Yeah.
The strict,
Yeah. So there may have been a sense of coldness or a sense of struggling materially or a lack of emotional closeness or comfort, some kind of limitation or restriction that had to do with your childhood.
Yeah.
Maybe a strict religious upbringing that you had to somehow either escape or come to terms with as you grew up.
Yes. And it can also be austere surroundings in the home where, it's not...
Everything's covered in plastic in the living room. Don't set down that glass,
Yes. For those of you interested in a little more, I'm now offering online astrology seasonal sessions. So there's one session in each of the solar seasonal mid-months, which will be February, May, August and November. I'll be chatting about advanced astrology topics through a Zoom presentation. If you're interested, check out the link for my seasonal sessions in the show notes below. Now back to the episode. Or they turn the thermostat down so the shower water's just warm enough.
Yeah, the whole put on a sweater thing. Yeah.
Says I was living it, yeah. I know, but this is the thing where austerity can come in where Saturn is.
Yeah.
It really can.
Yeah, definitely. And you may have anger and resentment that's sort of bottled up about your childhood that you will need to deal with at some point.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
It's tricky.
Tricky.
Yeah. But it's also a Gauquelin sector thing. Gauquelin sector.
Yes.
So if you have Saturn in the late degrees of the third house or the early degrees of the fourth house, it may be in the Gauquelin sector, and that is that means that Saturn would be extra important in your chart. So you may, it's almost like having it in the first house then. It's almost like it's extra, like a spotlight on it. And
I think too, Saturn represents responsibility, where you are maybe therefore in the fourth house, responsible for your family, responsible for what's going down. And as a kid, maybe there's not much you can do, but as a grown-up, you're going to be the one.
Yeah, it could be amazing. That could be a great thing.
Yes. They'll say, ask Uncle Bob. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking of that I'm always reminded of a TV show, right? I don't know if you ever saw Bloodline. It was on Netflix for a long time, but it's basically like the older brother in Bloodline. It's like the Saturn in the fourth house. He's like the one who's
the older brother,
the responsible one. He's the
old man. Yeah.
And then his like younger brother is this like, drug dealer, and the sister is like an alcoholic, and he's just constantly like,
Yeah. It's this
and the mother's like, deal with your brother, and he's like, how?
Yeah, we all have a Saturn to deal with.
Yeah,
we do.
Saturn in the fifth, and that's you.
Yeah, this is me.
Preach, tell us.
Oh. Yeah, what can I say?
Yeah, tell us.
Let me tell you about the creativity that's only come to me in later life.
Yeah.
I did art as a kid when I was under 9 and whatnot, and I had my art on display in the local art gallery when I was 9, and then that was it. And it's only since my second Saturn return, which we haven't spoken about, but we could, that I have now said, okay, enough now. I'm doing this.
Amazing.
The art, the crafting, and I call myself a hobby artist, if anything, in my other life, which, But it took time.
Yeah.
Because most of my life was in kids and bringing up a family. And then suddenly I've got all this time on my hands.
And so you've put that time towards creating things in a very structured and meticulous and hardworking fashion.
It's every day. It's every day.
Exactly.
And it's all micro, never mind the Virgo, it's all the micro goings on. But what I'm saying is, it took time. I had to wait, bide my time, until the second Saturn return, when suddenly, okay, I can actually now, dare I say it, I've paid my dues, I did my bit, I brought up the kids, I fed the family, I cooked, cleaned, and whatnot. Now, I'm just doing what I want to do. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it really does take time with Saturn. It really does.
I'm going to read a little quote from Howard Siskornis, because this really supports what you're saying, and it's hilarious. He says, while Mars and Jupiter rush into the sandbox to get started on their sandcastles, Saturn in the fifth house hesitantly steps in with a worried look. What if my castle is no good? I'm sure other people won't like it. Do I have to have one? All the other kids' houses are better. Castles are better. Everyone really liked Johnny's castle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Etc., etc. Saturn is still ruminating. Is this the best shovel to use? What are the basic principles for sandcastle building? I must get everything organized first. Yeah.
It's so true. And even in the last couple of years when I got back into art, and I'm saying, well, should I get these pens? And what? And you look on, you look online and they say, oh, well, try all these pens. I'm like, no, just buy the best you can afford and just get them.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need to go down and have a million markers or watercolors.
Ordering from Temu and like you get 1,000 pens and they're all trash.
No, I'd rather just
to Temu.
Whatever I can afford. I buy the best I can afford, and I've just gone from there.
Exactly. Oh, buying the best art supplies you can afford. That is something Saturn in the fifth.
Yeah, sure. I'm afraid so. It is. Unfortunately, my elder daughter always gives me a gift card for Opus, which is the art.
Oh.
Yeah, for my birthday and for Christmas. So that, because she's in art as well. So I can go down there and get my, I was there, when was it? Must have been August when it was my birthday. And I got more of the Tombos, which I need the primary colours because I use them up. It's not that I need more pens. I've used up my red and my yellow and my blue because I was
honestly admiring those when I was like, I have those pens. I have like 5 colors of them, and I need more now.
Yes, and
Opus gift certificate. God, that is exactly what I need.
It's the perfect gift.
It really is. Yeah,
the gift that keeps on giving.
It is.
And as I say, it's not that I think, well, I want more pens and I want this and I want that. No, my red is finished.
Yeah,
the yellow's finished, the blue's finished because I work primary colours. I'm not. in the shadows with my art. No.
Wow. I'm exactly the opposite with the colors.
I
I'm like,
know.
it's all the skin tones. It's all of like the beige. It's the black. It's the light sky blue. Yeah.
All the I know we're totally different, but no, I'm full on primaries. Yeah,
I love it.
Yes,
my red will probably never be like.
Oh yeah, no.
Up. Yeah.
I'm writing my notes as we speak in red.
I love it. Exactly. Okay. So that's Saturn in the 5th house.
Wow.
Saturn in the 6th.
Saturn in the 6th.
So organizational, administrative, workman-like,
workaholic,
person-like, workaholic.
Yes.
Yeah, the daily grind. Also health and the functions of the body.
Yes. Yes.
So as we said with the sun in the 6th house, this could be the person who just, has that regimented workout or diet program where everything is just
they're weightlifters,
counted to the last
Saturn.
letter. Weightlifting
Yes.
in the 6th house,
Yes.
counting all the reps, building up the resistance and actually, all that stuff that I
making
hate
it
to do.
hard.
Yes.
These 6-packs, or apparently we all have them somewhere.
Yes. The counting and building up and and also illnesses and possibly being a hypochondriac.
Maybe. And of course, cold and chills because Saturn is a cold planet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say a good worker. If you're going to employ someone with Saturn in the 6th house, you're going to get a good worker. They will be on time.
Yes.
They will not cut corners. They will not take extended lunches.
No.
Because they understand that time is money. Yeah. Because it rules time.
And when you ask them, how did you arrive at this conclusion? Well, here's the Excel spreadsheet that explains exactly. Oh my gosh. Planning a military strategy, the routine and ritual that is necessary for creating the structures that you need in life.
Yes.
Diets, physical exertions, the symptoms of ill health, the systems that make our lives function properly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think these strongly Saturnian people play chess.
Oh yeah.
It's that strategic game.
The Queen's Gambit.
Yes. They're not poker players, they play chess.
Yeah.
All right.
Saturn in the 7th. So
Oh.
Not commitment phobic.
No, but gets married after 30.
Yeah.
They're not rushing into marriage.
No, because they know it's serious.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's usually after the first Saturn return, they'll say, okay.
Yeah.
I finally, to be respectable, I need a partner. Mm.
Yeah. And they might be afraid of committing to the wrong relationship.
Yes.
But they know that they need a partner in life, whether it's in business or in love, to completely do everything that they need to do in life.
Yes.
So partnership is incredibly important to them, but it may also have this sort of like rarefied pedestal sort of position where...
Because they're fearful of their partner, right?
Yeah. And fearful of making the wrong decision.
Yes.
So they're not commitment phobic, but they are phobic about making the wrong commitment.
Yes.
Because they know how important it is.
Mm. Well, it's like when you get, political leaders, for example, running for office, if they're not married, it just never happens. They won't get through.
Well, there's literally in the history of the entire United States, there's been one bachelor president. One out of all, like 50 of them, there's been.
Yeah, because
insane.
It's respectable to be married and be a proper grown-up.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Saturn in the 8th.
So that's where I have it.
Fantastic.
I mean, is it? Well, tell me.
Well, so I think with Saturn in the 8th that you, dare I say it, have limited sexual partners because you're not running around the town.
That's actually
and, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's, it's serious.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're not doing it.
That's a good point.
And it's the same with all things 8th house wise.
Yeah.
You take it seriously.
Yeah. I'm not much of a gambler.
No, of course not. And how are we around the tax man? Well, we've got to...
Terrified.
We've got to get it right. We don't want to make a misstep there.
Oh my God, no.
No. So there's that a need to do the right thing, do the due diligence.
Yeah.
and stay true.
Yeah. 100%.
And this is what also brings Saturn around to being, it's not a fun planet.
No.
And what was it? We don't want to say, fear of the taxman, or I don't think you fear the taxman.
I mean,
but we're all rather wary, no matter who you are. You don't want to mess up your tax return.
Well, and that's the thing too. It's not that we're afraid of being taxed. It's that we're afraid of doing it wrong.
Yes, and getting assessed.
Getting in trouble.
Yes.
Because it's not as though if taxes were just automatically, done for you, there wouldn't be any issue.
Yes.
But the fact that we're somehow forced to, you can hear my anxiety.
Yeah, I can.
We're forced
You've got to fill in that paperwork.
Even though we didn't learn it in school
right.
at all.
No.
We just have to go out into the adult world and somehow suddenly start filing our taxes and knowing how to do it magically.
What to claim, what not to claim. Can I claim this? Right. I got paid $10 for babysitting. Should I put it as income?
Yeah.
The anguish.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Exactly.
But the problem is with Saturn there that if you don't get it right, the guy in the suits, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
That if you got that planet in that house, you better be towing the line with what the planet wants you to do.
Yeah.
And it's about getting it right, taking your time, and yeah. Well, I'm talking about taxes here. I mean,
exactly. No, it's true. I agree, and I agree. But generally, it's not just about taxes. There's also sex and death.
Absolutely,
which is just awesome. You know, those are amazing aspects of life that Saturn in the 8th house can make more chock full of anxiety and terror and
where are your fears?
Misgivings. You may desperately crave meaning and a union with someone that is
meaningful.
And if you are fortunate enough to have that, awesome. If not, it could become one of those yawning hungers that makes you.
It's a whole.
Terrifying to others in a way that you don't intend.
Yeah,
I dare say, and I'm not speaking from personal experience, but I.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, your intimate life is that you're in it for the long haul.
Yeah, exactly.
Where Saturn is, you're in it for the long haul.
Yeah, you're not. This is. I just said I don't want to scare anyone. I've been thinking of Fatal Attraction.
Well, yes,
it's just like I won't be ignored. Yes. Yeah, this is not someone to be trifled with. And, you don't want to just have a casual fling and think you can just toss aside the Saturn in the 8th house gal or guy and be like, it didn't work out, and just ghost them.
It's rabbit stew for you.
If you haven't seen Fatal Attraction, go see it. But also, just don't.
But it takes time.
Don't ghost people. Just be nice. Be like, it's not my bag. Let's be friends, and then ghost them. Just be nice. Everyone be nice to everybody.
Well,
because that's all we right. I mean, that's all we really want is just a little respect.
We want a little respect. Where Saturn is, we want respect. Yes,
exactly. And if we can't have deep and meaningful connections, then at least we want a respectful.
Will you respect me in the morning?
Parting, and then we can just go on with our lives and don't leave people hanging.
No, it's it's a tricky thing, but it's also if you say, for instance, you're dealing with your partner's money.
Yes.
Don't just blow it, because that is going to cause a problem.
Oh my gosh, no!
There's going to have to be. You're going to have to be. What's the word?
Just transparent and communicate.
Yes, and
don't be a gold digger. My God, have we said that before? I think that's important to say.
Don't be
a gold digger.
No,
male or female. Really, no. It's just not nice. We're all on this planet just trying to do our best, work hard, survive. Maybe take care of some people along the way. Don't just take advantage of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you've got that as well. Clearly, as I think where Saturn is too, is the older you get, the better things become.
Oh, that's cool.
And you can attest to this, right? In your life.
So far.
with your person, right?
Oh my gosh.
You've got the older you get, the better it becomes.
That is absolutely true for me.
Yes,
Yeah, so
yes.
far. Yeah.
And Saturn makes you pay your dues. You've got to be in it for 30 at least years, no matter what it is. And if not 60, and then you get, it's your time will come.
Yeah.
But it's not an easy planet.
Yeah. So those images that you see of like those wonderful couples on, I don't know, Instagram or whatever, and they're like just fabulously dressed to the nines, and maybe they got a whole bunch of tattoos, and they just like, you're like, how old are they? They're
12.
clearly like 20 to 30 years older than you, at least, maybe 50 years older than you, but they look amazing, and they're super into each other, and they're holding hands, and they're just walking down the street like they own the place. That's like a Saturn in the 8th house, like hashtag goals, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
In it for the long haul.
In it for the long haul, and getting better every year.
Yeah, well, this is it. It's like anything that matures, like wine and even wood, trees get...
Oh, yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. Swords.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's not the most fun planet to have, is it? That's what this is.
No, but everyone's got it somewhere.
We've all got it somewhere. Yeah.
All right. Saturn in the 9th.
Saturn in the 9th.
Okay. It is the house of religion, philosophy, higher education, and travel.
Yes.
Awesome things. And I would think that Saturn in that house would actually be kind of amazing, because it would give you
degrees.
Oh God, yeah.
Yes.
Like the actual diligence to put forth the kind of effort that's needed
in the long haul. Yes.
To educate yourself.
These are the people who are
study,
still getting their masters and their professorships and their I don't know, doctorate comes after that or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they've got the discipline that the rest of us have said, to hell with this,
Yeah, like, better
and they keep going, yeah.
I'm thinking of like that pilot, or that like you were talking about your gynecologist, like this surgeon or something like that, where they're an older, man or woman who's just dedicated their life to doing something that the rest of us are just like, yikes.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
Like, oh my God, flying a plane, or like being a stand-up comedian. Saturn is very much, there's a lot of Saturn in comedy, because comedy, if you ask the average person on the street, would you want to do like a stand-up comedy act? Whoa, what? No, terror, horror, like, my God. Yeah. So stand-up comedy is a huge Saturnian thing, because there's this fright, but it's a catharsis,
Yes. Yeah.
And it's
your fear.
Not
it's your
everyone
fear.
can do that.
Yeah.
Taxes, being an undertaker, all of these horrific things that you're like, oh my God, but someone does them.
Someone does it.
And thank you for your service,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I would think that Saturn in the 9th would actually be a pretty great placement for that. Saturn in the 10th.
10th. Wow,
So
this is a good one.
It's the natural house of Capricorn.
Yes.
So this is its own elevated home. Saturn operates powerfully in the 9th or 10th house. It can be a very status-oriented position.
Absolutely. Marrying up.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The social status increases over time.
Yeah.
Or someone will
just,
pay. Yes.
Yeah, or just someone who establishes himself early and then becomes an institution.
What's that guy, that money guy? He reminds me of this.
Oh, yeah.
Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett. And interestingly, it's not all just about money. Joni Mitchell apparently has Saturn in the 10th house. Yeah. So someone who's become an institution, and not in a stuffy kind of staid money kind of way. Like, she's a counterculture icon. And yet, decades later, she's still like,
we're still talking about her.
Totally.
Well, that's 10th house, right? We're still talking about them.
Yeah.
It's quite a leadership role, actually. But in the hierarchical leadership that you get in, like, big corporations, or you used to, and things like the army, where there's this pecking order of the general and the general and the...
It's very clearly laid out, like what the hierarchy is.
Yes. Traditional, definitely. Yeah,
for sure. So that's Saturn in the 10th.
Right. So how about Saturn in the 11th?
Yes. So the 11th house is about friendships and social connections.
Yes.
And group affiliations.
Your community.
And your humanitarian efforts, your community efforts. Mm-hmm. So this person will likely be either a group leader or a really good friend who's always working for
the
group.
power behind the throne, I think.
The working to better the situation of the group, of the community.
Right. Making sure they're not
working behind the
breaking
scenes.
the laws or...
Yeah. They're person who's like, well, wait, we might want to make sure we have a permit for that.
Exactly.
Let's just make sure.
We are a non-profit. We can't pay you, or whatever it is the deal is, or we must do our tax, or whatever it is. Yeah. It's the suit.
Yeah.
It's the suit.
It's to bring in that beloved Friends show. This is the Ross. This is the Ross going. But wait, let's just make sure we've got our ducks in a row, that we're not going to get in trouble. Let's not fly off half-cocked.
Let's not break the law. Let's not say the wrong thing. Let's make sure that what we put out there is correct.
Yeah.
And it's not exciting, but it's going to be right.
Yeah.
And you need that, don't you? You need this
for sure. And it's not the greatest. I mean, it's not the most comfortable position. Like this person might feel awkward and like they're kind of a killjoy or a wet blanket sometimes.
Well, they may not feel that, but others might think it of them.
Or, either that. Yeah. So they might feel it and they might be correct. And
unless it's the rock climbing club guy, because then they're all going to want to have Saturn in the 11th house.
Oh, what's that guy? Oh, Alex Honnold. Oh.
Welcome to Untethered and Wanderwise, where adventure has no age limit. We're your co-host, Heidi Brandist and Nikki Mahundro, and we're here to inspire and celebrate women over 45 who are embracing their independence and want to explore the world on their own terms.
Or the mountaineer people, the Everest. What do you call
the free solo guy with his gecko hands. Oh my God, it just gives me goosebumps to even look at that. Crazy.
Yeah, it's a tricky planet because you struggle to find the upside.
Yeah.
Yes, I know there is one, but in general, other planets are much more fun and exciting and whatnot.
Yeah.
But Saturn it brings us down to our core. You know do the right thing.
Yeah.
And it's not always fun.
Yeah.
But we all kind of, like you do. You do the right thing. I did the right thing for years. Yeah. But finally, yeah. So embrace it, but understand what it's there, because we've all got one, and that's the thing.
Yeah. Actually, that's an interesting, not to go off on a tangent, but it is an interesting point about, so we all have Saturn somewhere, and Saturn is this, scary, it's limitation, blah, blah, blah. But what you want to be responsible about in life.
Yes.
Like if you crave being a responsible partner in your relationship, romance, marriage, whatever you call it, or if you crave being a responsible leader, or if you crave being a responsible parent, or if you want to be very financially responsible, or if you want to be a responsible child taking care of your elder parents as they age.
Yes.
All of these things are Saturn things. Those are goals. Those are stretch goals, as they say.
Yes.
Things that you want to be good at, that you have to put in effort. They don't just come naturally.
No.
And so these are important things, and it may require sacrifice. Like being in a long-term partnership requires sacrifice, because unless you're in that unicorn situation where you've got a polyamorous whatever and you can do whatever you want, most of us have to forsake all others.
Correct.
In order to have a, fruitful partnership that lasts for years and years. And you have to kind of ignore all the temptations and there's this cute guy at Starbucks. No, you've made a commitment,
Correct.
Or you.
Well, it's like the Saturn in the 5th house with the kids thing.
Exactly. You might want to
was there.
Yes, exactly. You might want to focus on other things, but kids demand the attention.
Come first.
And they will prosper if you actually make those sacrifices and focus on them.
And I did. Yeah, I definitely think so. And, of all the years, in all the years, and it's nothing to be proud of, but we never got babysitters in and went out for an evening.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah.
I was that mother who's the other kids used to come to our house because I was at home with food, And it was like, that's all I did for years.
Yeah.
You do your duty. You do what you got to do.
And same with health. If you may not want to eat the salad or
go to the gym more.
Go to the gym or not eat fast food or whatever. Right? It's so much easier to do this or that, or just like not care what's on the label of something, or just take whatever whatever they say to just pop all the pills, whatever. But if your health is important to you, you're actually going to take kind of ownership of it and understand what you're putting in your body and what you're doing, and
it's the right thing. It's doing the right thing, but it's not.
It's not easy.
No.
It's not easy, and it's not just. Yeah, it's not going to just happen. Yeah. That's Saturn.
Yeah.
But it's worth it.
Exactly.
It's worth it.
In the end, you know that you've done your best, you see.
Yeah. And that's the good side of Saturn. That's the beautiful side of Saturn, is that you can look back and you can go, oh, wow.
Forsaking all others, Arwynne.
Forsaking all others, exactly. And there's a huge upside to that.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
And here you are, 25 years on or whatever 26. It is, Well, okay, 26 years on.
But, right, yeah. And everyone's like, how do you guys do it? And we're like, I don't know. And then we start.
I know, right?
Making out in front of them. Yeah. And they're like, oh, guys, get a room.
This is it. How do you do it? People always say to me, how did you have 4 kids? I don't know, but that's all I did for 25 years,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's Saturn.
Yeah. That is Saturn. Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, we have one more house.
Okay.
The 12th.
Saturn and the 12th.
The 12th. Yeah. So what do we say about the 12th? What do you say when people come to you and they have Saturn?
Oh, Saturn and the 12th. This can very frequently be depression.
Oh.
Where it's behind closed doors and maybe there's some loneliness there.
Yeah.
And life has not been what they thought it would be.
Mm.
And yet here we are. We still have to keep going. And, and it can move into that. And you can get people then who just say, well, I'll just stay in bed and I won't open the curtains. But you've got to get past that.
Because they'll be evicted if they don't go to work and pay their rent.
But you get this where it's just, what's the point?
Yeah.
And so that is the downside of this, because it can be lonely if you are alone and you end up living a hermit life and you don't know where it came from, but suddenly you spend all your life alone and you eat alone and you've got no one to talk to.
Yeah.
So you have to lean into the other planets then to bring the person out and say, well, what about this planet? What about that? Go and talk to somebody.
Yeah.
But generally, you don't get them coming to astrologers because they're actually just...
Yeah, that's true.
Alone.
Yeah.
But,
So if you, as an astrologer, a budding astrologer, an astrology curious person who is listen to this podcast, if you have friends or your partner has Saturn in the 12th house, you
talk to them.
Can talk to them. Help them.
Awareness is key with these things.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we do this, right?
Yeah, because we're all trying to understand.
We're all trying to understand our human nature and help people and help each other and just get through life.
We're all trying to get through. No.
And do the best we can and elevate our lives into something beautiful.
Arwynne and I have got our issues, but we're doing the best we can, right?
Yeah. And all we want is for everyone to be as happy as they possibly can be.
Yes,
really.
Yes. And that's the thing with it, as I say, with the astrology, it's awareness. When you see that Saturn in the 12th house, you might not see that or realize that somebody's perhaps depressed or sad or lonely. Yeah. But once you go down that road, you can see it and help them forward.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this way. It can just be organized and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, depression that's a difficult one.
Yeah.
Because it's common. It's not uncommon.
It creeps up. It creeps up. And even more so now because we've got this nuclear family. No one's living with their cousins. Like when I was a kid, all my family lived in virtually the same street.
Yeah.
But now you're on your own here. There's just,
Just in a little box in the sky.
In our elevated ivory towers that we live in. Yeah. But it's true,
Yeah.
And, when you have a difficult Saturn, I think you need to look at any soft aspect, which is a trine or a sextile, coming off that Saturn, go to that planet and work that planet. Because that will be the planet that can bring the Saturn forward in a positive light. Yes. So they can master something or get good at something or take the time to focus on what they're supposed to be doing.
Join into something.
Yes,
Create
to
something,
engage
or
themselves
engage in
back
something.
into the
Yeah,
chart.
Exactly.
Yeah, rather than just remaining withdrawn. Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this episode, we've gone through Saturn and the houses. We've spoken a little bit about the planet Saturn. We've explored it, going through all the 12 houses from the 1st to the 12th. And hopefully, you're going to have some insight into where Saturn is in your chart.
Yeah.
So if you would like to email us, you can email us at starzology@gmail.com, and certainly sign up for our newsletter, which is at starzology.com/newsletter. Make sure to follow Arwynne, and she is at...
I am at mspink.net. That's mspink.net. And I am talking about art and philosophy and politics, but not that much politics, and life.
TV and whatnot.
TV shows, everything. Yeah.
It's great. Make sure to do that.
Yeah.
Make sure to text us. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, the very top link, you can click through and text us if you've got any questions. If you enjoyed this episode, please do share it with anyone who'd be interested.
Spread the love.
Spread the love.
Mm-hmm.
And visit our blog. We are at starzology.com. And if you want some astrological freebies, you can go to starzology.com/freebies. And there's some stuff you can download there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, Arwynne, I want to thank you so much for joining me again, talking about Saturn in the houses.
Yes, thank you for inviting me. This has been fun. As fun as Saturn gets.
It's fun that we've really put a fun spin on Saturn.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and
We'll see you next time.
we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for getting this far through the episode. I just want to take a moment to tell you about the two main options of my astrology services. So the first one is coaching. If you are an aspiring astrologer, and by that I mean someone who's perhaps a hobbyist astrologer, or someone who's learning astrology, or a student, or you've got a few books and you've been doing it for a while, but perhaps you need a little bit of help to bring it all together, then maybe getting some astrological coaching from me would be the answer for you. The astrology coaching I offer is a 1-hour session on Zoom, and it's tailored to answer your particular questions. For example, if you have issues with natal chart readings, we can go there. Or if you're having problems working with your forecasting, we can go there. Or even basic astrology stuff, or even getting yourself organized for your astrology business. The idea is that astrological coaching will answer your particular questions. It's tailored specifically to you and where you are in your astrological journey. And I'm happy to help you out with some guidance about how you can get going, what to focus on, and what to dismiss. So that would be the astrological coaching for people trying to learn astrology. The second astrological service I offer is consultations. So this is for someone who perhaps doesn't know anything about astrology, but they just want to have their chart read or get their chart done. Call it what you will. So once more, this is a 1-hour consultation over Zoom. I will interpret your chart, tell you about the main features, tell you about where the energy is flowing, and all the rest of what is entailed in a thorough natal chart interpretation. I can also add in some forecasting in there too, bearing in mind we only have 1 hour. So just in summary, I've got coaching for people who want to learn astrology, and I've got consultations for those who want to get an astrology reading done. I'm Alison Price from Starzology.com. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.